by looking at the top 10 players according to ESPN's NBA rank. The seventh player on the ranking is Blazers star point guard Damian Lillard. Inside the bubble, Dame Dow, one player here with the seeding games for his 37.6 points and 9.6 assists as the Blazers claim the 8th seed to reach the playoffs. Max, is Dame the top point guard in the league?
Yep. Yes, he is. And I think we can agree, Stephen A., that we're not talking about LeBron James or Luka Doncic, who are point guards, but they don't guard the other team's guards usually, so let's call them point forwards. We're putting those guys aside. The answer is yes. Because part of this stuff is predicting and trajectory. And as great as Steph Curry has been, Damian Lillard's 2 years younger and has taken the next step. You know, Steph Curry showed the way. But Damian Lillard saw that, and he's shooting from a million miles away and hitting, and is completely unstoppable offensively. And then when you look to this year, not only is his game still ascending, where Curry's has plateaued, but it's ascending, and now he has certain pieces on the team. When you examine these two guys' teams, in fact, Damian Lillard's life is going to be a little easier on the Blazers than Steph Curry's is going to be on the Warriors, I think. And all that means to me, it adds up to, I think, Damian Lillard in this coming season will be the best true, we're not talking about the LeBron and Doncic, point guard in the NBA.
You're wrong, but I respect where you're coming from. Because I love me some Dame Lillard, man. I'm so happy that he got his money. I love the fact that he got that $250 million extension. His agent, Aaron and Eric Goodwin, negotiated the largest contract in NBA history. Major props to them for the job that they've done. They've been exceptional for years. But I tell you something right now. Damian Lillard is a player. He is a winner. He's Mr. Clutch. He's a leader. And he's an incredible individual and a great role model as far as I'm concerned. I got a lot of love for Damian Lillard, but he ain't no Steph Curry. And I'm going to tell you something, Max Kellerman. Damian Lillard averaged 30 this past season. Damian Lillard shot 40% from three-point range last year. Did you know, Max Kellerman, that's the first time Damian Lillard shot 40% from three-point range in his career? Steph Curry did it every year for the first 10 years in his career. He has never shot in less than 42% from three-point range in his career, with the exception of the 20 games that he played after he came off an injury last season. Yeah, that's it. So the first 10 years of his career, he did what Damian Lillard just did for the first time. Now, obviously, that total game doesn't come with that. And we understand how elite, because I think Damian Lillard is one of the great point guards and one of the great scoring point guards the game has ever seen. I think he's destined for the Hall of Fame. He's that special. But what makes Steph Curry special that I don't think you give enough appreciation to, Max Kellerman, along with a lot of NBA players, present and former, by the way, is this one important fact. It's not just the fact that Steph Curry is such a marksman. His movement without the basketball is unreal. He's always on the move. Why is that so important? Because you can't even set your defense right, because you got to know where he's at every single second. Dame has the ball in his hands. It's Dame's that's deciding if he's going to shoot or he's going to pass. It's Dame's that's who's deciding whether he's going to shoot or whether somebody else is going to shoot. He's doing all of these things. Even though Steph Curry is your point guard and he brings the ball up the court, he is such a sniper extraordinaire that he instantly gives the ball up, and you spend like 60 to 65 to 75% of your offense in terms of that shot clock trying to find him just to get him the ball back. That element right there makes him so profoundly lethal. That's the difference between him and Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard don't move like that without the ball the way Steph Curry does.
Look, we were yelling at each other earlier in the show, and this is a more polite debate because I can't really argue against those points. Steph Curry is special because just because two guys shoot doesn't mean they shoot the same. No one's ever shot like Steph Curry with that kind of mobility coupled with that kind of shooting. The other thing that makes Steph special is the fact that the ball doesn't stick with him, right? Like, it just makes him different. But what I'm saying about Damian Lillard is, as you would say, he's on the come up. Damian Lillard was born with ice water in his veins. You know, Steph Curry had to get there. Steph Curry against LeBron James, not saying Damian Lillard's always been perfect in the playoffs. Drew Holiday did a number on him, but and team defense did too, as he points out, as Lillard points out. But Steph Curry was running the best half-court offense in the history of basketball, couldn't score in the last 4.5 minutes in a Game 7 at home. In a 73-win team and lost the finals. That's not Damian Lillard to me, Stephen A. Damian Lillard was born with the clutch gene. And he's 2 years younger and still getting better. Here's the other thing. Steph Curry tries to play defense. He's just not very good at it. But he is a guy who's present defensively. Damian Lillard, to me, went from a guy who didn't play defense, he wasn't even really trying, it looked to me early in his career, to a pretty good defender. I actually think Damian Lillard is an underrated defender right now, especially in high-leverage situations. I've seen him mature that way, and between the two, I'll take Lillard on defense. Between the two, I'll take Lillard's trajectory. Right. Between the two, I'll take Lillard's clutch gene. So all in all, to me, that says in a very close competition,
all right,
Lillard.
We're out. You know who's good on defense? Kawhi Leonard. We're talking Clippers basketball when we come back here on First Take. Who's the better leader? Is it Kawhi or is it Paul George when we're talking about those clips? NBA season preview continues when we return in just a few moments right here on First Take.
The situations were different, and it's not just about basketball. I mean, I think you have to remember there was a lot of stuff going on in Cleveland before LeBron departed. There were teammates who betrayed him. There were people who were chirping and talking behind his back all the time. He didn't feel like he had a true brotherhood. And because of that, that had a lot to do with why he left. Now, obviously, one would anticipate he was going to leave anyway because being in his hometown, having never departed from that area, being born and raised in Akron, Ohio, playing in Cleveland, he might have wanted, new horizons and experience different things. But it was certainly made easier for him because of some of that chirping that was taking place. And it was evidenced by once he arrived in Miami. If you recall, it wasn't just because he was a pariah and what have you, because of how he had departed Cleveland and sort of ravaged the local economy and everything else because he was that significant to them. You saw people crying in the streets and different things like that. But when he got to Miami, Dwayne Wade didn't leave his side. He did every press conference. Kendrick Perkins, you remember this? He did every press conference with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was by his side all the time because there was this need for a brotherhood, and Dwayne Wade, being a big brother to him, really had to go about the business of showing him that he had somebody by his side that had his back on at all times, that he never had to worry about compromising that level of loyalty that LeBron was lacking at that particular moment in time. And that was the difference. When you look at Giannis in Milwaukee, these guys love him. They wear it on their sleeve. They don't just marvel at his greatness as an athlete and a player, but they marvel at him as a person. They love Giannis, and they wanted him there, and he feels like it's a family. It's his home. LeBron did not feel that way about Cleveland. So when he says it was a completely different between him and Giannis, he's not really just talking about basketball. He's talking about things on the outside as well. That's what I took from it.
Yeah, that's interesting, and good background about what was happening at the time. Let me tell you what I heard LeBron saying. Not obviously dismissing what's underneath it or the relationships, but
sure.
I remember at the time in Cleveland when LeBron was pushing them to make the team better, to give them a realistic shot. I'm forgetting who it was. There was a trade that people wanted for Amari Stoudemire, remember, and the Cavs were going to have to give up some stuff that they didn't want to give up. And I remember thinking, Amari Stoudemire at the time was a scoring machine. And LeBron wasn't playing with any other All-Stars. And it's not like Stoudemire was an MVP. He was just, he's an All-Star. And I remember thinking, they won't give up what for an All-Star for LeBron? Michael Jordan, whatever you want to say about him, they took a while, but they eventually put a team around him. And you could see it building, right? The right coach and Scottie Pippen and Grant, and it was building. LeBron was sitting there waiting like, you guys aren't getting this done. I understand Magic Johnson's born into a league with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, good for him. And Kobe Bryant gets Shaquille O'Neal, good for him. And at least they built around Jordan. What are you doing for me? So LeBron took matters into his own hands, from which he was vilified. And he said, okay, if they're not going to build a team around me, I'll go build a team, right? I think that's what I heard him saying. Giannis is in a situation where whether they're trying the best way or not, they are trying. They are bringing him in help. Whether it's enough help or not, we will see. But they're trying to build and keep him. And LeBron's like, they weren't doing that for me.
Well, Stephen A. Max, I feel like both of you guys came up with some great points, but this is what I think LeBron James was saying. When LeBron James was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, they handed him the keys to the Mercedes-Benz, and he had to just drive the organization, meaning he had to teach himself how to park. He had to teach himself how to get on the highway and use his blinkers. When the Bucks drafted Giannis got the opportunity to go to driver's ed. He got the chance to learn how to use the windshield wipers and the left signal and learn how to, ease on his brake when he was coming up on the stop sign. So with that being said, it's one word that comes to mind: expectation. Expectations. LeBron James' expectations were greater than probably any other player in NBA history. Giannis didn't have the same expectations as LeBron James. So when you look at LeBron's situation,